In this episode, we will speak together about a new solution, holistic, non-toxic solution for this toxic world, full of toxins and so depleted of nutrients. I will begin to introduce my personal history. We will be speaking about toxins, detox procedures, supplementations, and mineral balancing in general, the history of this science that has 50 years of clinical practice and how people are healed from many conditions in these 50 years and how it can help you. And maybe this may be the missing link to your health you are struggling to find nowadays. Enjoy! Welcome, Guardians of Balance wannabe, to Essential Wholeness podcast. Let's dive deep with me, Eduardo, your guardian guide into deep healing, spiritually, mentally, and physically, with the most powerful, non-toxic solutions for this new, very toxic world. Natural medicine alone falls short in a world that is so depleted and toxic. Hence, we all need to find non-toxic solutions to clean up our physical bodies and then use it together with mental and spiritual healing. In this channel, we will discuss together how to do all these things, and we will be interviewing many experts around the world. Good morning to everybody and welcome to this podcast. This is my first episode and so it will be a bit introductory. So I will make an introduction about my experience, my practice. I am a registered mineral balancing practitioner and I will try to give you an overview of what I did in order to heal. So thank you for joining me. And first some things. So first thing first, English is not my first language. I am Italian. I'm from Italy. In fact, my name is Eduardo, but you can call me Edward if you want, or Ed. So please forgive me if sometimes you will find some grammatical errors here and there. Secondly, I am registering with my cell phone, so maybe you will see and hear, not see, only hear background noises. Third, as you can see, I am not for cutting and trimming, so I will be here, in the flow without too much editing, and also be mindful that I have two cats that are going to meow very much, so please forgive me. Okay, and the last thing, I have an idea of what to say, but I don't have a prepared text. Okay, so please bear with me. This is a conversation. Okay, so I began my journey into, I will say holistic medicine, because many people are going to say natural medicine, but in my experience, not all the holistic medicine is natural, and I will be covering this topic in the today podcast. Actually, I began I would say 13 years ago, when I went out a serious period in which I had a serious problem with recreational drugs abuse. And I do not fear to tell this, because I feel that many persons, many in particular young people are suffering from this, in particular in the West. So at the beginning, I would say that my interests were mainly meditations. My father used to be a chief medical doctor, and his life and also his struggles with health convinced me to don't follow the allopathic medicine route, and then also something deep in my soul told me, please don't do that. Of course, if you're following allopathic medicine route and you're feeling good with it, I'm totally okay with it. I'm not about denying things to others, but also I am for giving alternatives. And after some years into meditations, in which I really tried every kind of meditations here and there, and having great results, something I like faced a wall. My progress began to slowly, at the beginning, just go slower, and then stopped altogether. And then an inner intuition. This was 3 years into meditations, so about 9 years ago, 9 years ago, told me this is not just a psychological thing. This is a physical thing. You need to find healing for the body. So, wow, that was a great intuition for me. And then, that was the point where I began my search. Okay, so how did I begin? So YouTube was at the beginning, and I began to watch here and there videos on YouTube, searching for blogs, etc., like everybody does. And I began to at first I immediately understood that it was some there was some great path into following the diets. So the diet was the brand new solutions for the many modern diseases that, by the way, are very different from ancient diseases. And why? We will go and see in this episode why. I tried. I have been vegetarian, even vegan. Not for so long, the vegan, and I've been vegetarian for 2 years. And I also have tried ketogenic diet. I mean, every of this diet gave me something. Not the vegan diet, I need to say, although I was following it, a very alternative form of vegan diet, of veganism, because my first, I would say, teacher of holistic health, we could say, was my martial arts master, instructor, that was very into this kind of things. So actually I knew nutrition, I knew many things. So I began with a great understanding. So after that period, I began to look into natural medicine. In particular, I focused on tribal natural medicine. So the solutions that tribal people found all around the world, and in particular, I focused not on the modern tribes, but on the tribes of the 300 years ago. So I have a problem with pronouncing the long numbers in English. So I will just say like that. Instead of saying, for example, 19th century, I will say 1800. So sorry for that. I feel so stupid, but well, let me know in the comments how to pronounce it. So mainly we have many books and diaries from the great explorers all around the world, from the 1700 and even before that, went to Australia, then went to North America, etc., and had the chance to give us some really fresh testimonials about the life of these people. And even today they are far more healthy than the average person, I would say. Not the average Westerner, but the average civilized person, quote unquote civilized person in the world. Because it is stupid today to say that Asians are more healthy. I actually don't believe at all in this. I believe that things that big studies like the China study and the blue zones are not as we are told they are. Many of this, or also What the Health, the documentary. And I mean, I am not alone. There are many holistic practitioners, naturopaths, and YouTubers, experts on health, that actually debunked all these things. So I am totally against academic. So I think that the academical part of science, and in particular the medicine, but also the nutritionist part, are doing the greatest harm to the world. For what pertains to allopathic medicine, we also have data, so it begins to be quite difficult, to to say no to these data. You can go and check the book Death by Medicine by Gary Null, PhD. I will try to, if I remember, put the name in the description. If you don't find it, just remind me and I will add it. Okay, so, but again, there I began to feel some very important changes, but then, again, something was missing. And I was asking myself, what the hell, in the seven hells are missing? What am I doing wrong? And then by chance, the fate, the destiny, made me stumble upon a science that is called mineral balancing science. Now, 7 years has passed since the first time I read about this, and I have been following this this methodology, which is a holistic methodology that is, we can say, not natural but non-toxic. For 7 years, and for 5 years I was following the science as an amateur, and since 2 years I became a practitioner, so a professionist in this. So what is the science? The science is the science of a great scientist named Paul Eck, which died in the 90s, and that began, I think it was the first ever, or one of the first scientists that began, one of the few scientists that began in the 70s to use hair tissue mineral analysis for clinical purposes and in a generalized and systemic manner. So he was a chemist and a deep knower of the human pathologies, and a great intuition struck to him. He said, oh wow, in the universities and colleges we are not teaching the importance of the minerals in the biochemistry of the bodies and their role for our health. Just think about it. If you take the periodic table, all the solid elements in there are actually minerals, or to better say, metals that are minerals, But yet, and still it is true today, and not just in the 70s, I have spoken with nutritionists, I have spoken with experts in chemistry and also in biochemistry, and they confirmed it to me that vitamins are taught very much, but minerals not that much. I mean, we should look at minerals not just in how we need it, how much we need it, but how they are going to interact each other, how they are going to react when there is a toxic metal inside, or some kind of toxic form of nutritional minerals like copper, for example. Toxic forms of copper are so wide used and so common in people, and are creating so much trouble. So some of you maybe know that there are some strains of candida that are not good for you because they are aberrant, mutagenic. In fact, they are chronic. They stays there, and no matter what you do, they are not going to leave. And this has been linked with a copper toxicity. And with copper toxicity, it is meant a toxic form of copper. With toxic form, we can speak about many things, and this is an important concept because it's not just for copper. Virtually every mineral that is for for ourselves, that is a nutrient minerals, a mineral that we need it, can come into non-bioavailable forms. So it is magnesium, calcium. Calcium is a big one, like copper, and also iron is a big one. So for example, many practitioners of mineral balancing studied that the people that have diabetes, both type 1 and type 2, normally they have buildups of toxic iron in the pancreas. And that is a big deal. And one of the mentors of Paul Eck is world famous. His name is Hans Selye, and discovered the phenomenon of stress. You can read his book, The Stress of Life, and others. And another great book of Hans Selye, the name is Calciphylaxis. And for the first time, he discovered the phenomenon of calcification of the body, of the organs, of the tissues. Of course, for a period of time, allopathic academic world just said, oh, you're crazy. But right now, they are testing for the calcifications of the arteries. So, academic world is always like that. They always begin to say, oh, stress is not a thing, you are stupid. But after 20 years, oh, Hans Selye was right. But then, if you ask them, so for example, many scientists are going to say, oh, stress can accumulate in yourself for forever. But when you say to them, doctor, how's that happen? They cannot reply. Well, if you listen to the podcast, you will be able to reply because we will be speaking, not in this episode, about the stress and the discoveries of Hans Selye, which was one of the mentors of Paul Eck. So again, I cited the book Calciphylaxis because toxic forms, or better, not available forms of calcium can build up into your body and make it stale and dead. So this is a new phenomenon. These all are new phenomena that were not there 100 years ago. Why? Because we lived in a natural world. This is the reason why all the medicine, the natural medicine, falls short nowadays. And I speak with so many people, and they always, many are reporting to me, oh, I am working with a naturopath for 5 years, 10 years. One of them told me for 20 years, but still, okay, I feel better here and there, but still I did not resolve my fatigue problems and many, many other things. Why? Because naturopathy, all these things were built up, were meant to act, to heal in a world that was not so toxic. So we have some data. There was a great nutritionist named Henry Schroeder that demonstrated with data that toxic metals and toxic chemicals, just toxic metals and toxic chemicals, so there are many other toxins, and just in the air and water, so without counting, vaccinations, without counting medicine, or even over the counter, without counting the food, the preservatives, etc., are increasing by 1,000% every 20 years since the end of Second World War. So in 60 years, just do your math, 1,000% just in air and water every 20 years. Our bodies are not meant, we're not evolved to face all this quantity of toxins. It is an enormous quantity, I would say an oceanic quantity of toxins. And at the same thing, the soils also depleted. That was because of the so-called green revolution of the agriculture in the 50s and 60s by the great cartel of grain and sugar. And they actually raped the soils of the world. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 2019, I succeeded it, 2019, they reported that the soils in the world, they have data from all around the world, have actually 1/10 of the nutrients that we used to have 100 years ago. So that means that if 100 years ago you needed, like, for example, 1 head of kale or 1 pound of meat in order to stay healthy, today you need 10 pounds of meat, okay, and 10 heads of kale. I mean, you are not going to eat all that much. Also because since we are so sick, so this is just for having the normal nutrients we need. But we are so sick nowadays that we need so many much more nutrients. So maybe all quantities should double. Okay, so are you going to eat 20 pounds of meat, which is 10 kilograms? I don't think so. So this is one of the reasons I use supplements in my clinical practice. So I'm normally against supplementation. Okay, if someone comes at me and say, what about supplements? I say supplements are dangerous. In particular, the supplements you are going to find normally, on Amazon, etc., these are hard, like stones. Mainly they are crafted from oil and petroleum, but you can find some good quality supplements that are, everything that is man-made will give you some toxins. But if they are crafted in some very non-toxic ways, so not from petroleum, etc., of course they are going to give you some toxins. But if you are following a complete program, they are going to give you so many nutrients that are not just going to you are not going to absorb all of these nutrients. But if you do a good diet, if you follow a detox procedures daily, so that you are suggesting to your body to dump out all the toxins, and you can get one detox procedures for free in my Telegram channel, which I will be linking in the description, then you will be absorbing very much of these nutrients. And here it comes a great concept of mineral balancing, which is the placeholder concept. So placeholder concept means that what happens? Your body doesn't want to change. Okay, every change is looked as something not good for the body. So since you were in the belly of your mother, if you are born after the 50s, I think you are, you will beginning to build your own body, not using the normal nutrients. So people don't know that you need minerals to build your tissues and to maintain your tissues. You need minerals to craft your hormones and to use your hormones. You need minerals to craft and use your enzymes. And hormones and enzymes will decide how healthy you will be. So it is very, very important. So this is another concept. Then I will come back to the so-called placeholder concept. But another important concept is the preferred mineral concept. So when your body is not finding, for example, the bioavailable forms of calcium, and they are quite rare today, mostly because people are drinking pasteurized milk and shitty things like that, by the way are one of the most allergenic food. That is, on the contrary, raw milk is one of the most healthy food. And many practitioners are saying that, and even medical doctors, so I'm not building things up. But if you don't have that forms of bioavailable calcium, your body can utilize some forms of metals like lead, like cadmium, as a substitute, because they are similar in the chemical structure. And this was one of the discoveries of Dr. Eck. Okay, so it is, a great deal, because, for example, if your body is using lead for crafting enzymes, it will build so much less enzymes, and they will be more stale, not so powerful, and it will make your body rusty and inflamed. Okay, so the inflammation is not the culprit. Many medical doctors, well, not many medical doctors, some rare medical doctors are saying that inflammation is the culprit, and it is better than just to give, medical drugs. Okay, it is better just to fix inflammation with the diet, but inflammation is not the culprit. On the contrary, for a certain period, if you are following a deep healing program, you will want the inflammation to increase temporarily, because the inflammation is the means for your body to take out all these toxins. So actually, you need to flood your body with nutrients and with detox procedures. You are going to persuade your body to change its homeostasis. But it is a long process, and many of the so you need a good gut flora And again, it's not easy because you can take all the probiotics food you want, but if your pH is not the right pH, they are not going to live there. If you have copper toxicity, the intestinal walls of your intestine will be so filled of copper, of lead, of mercury and aluminum are big toxic metals that stays in the gut. They are not going to let you absorb your food. So a good quality supplement taken with food are going to so first things first, you will have to persuade your body to dump out lead, calcium, and toxic forms of calcium, etc., and to use good forms. And the first good forms, more bioavailable, is the forms that comes with the supplements, but not the regular supplements, and not taken like this without any reasoning behind. And I will get to this point. So these nutrients that you're going to take from the supplements will just hold the place, waiting for your body to absorb the nutrients from the food, which is more difficult. And it is also it's not just absorbing, you need to absorb, then you will have to divide, I don't know how to say it in English, the nutrients. Then you have to transport the nutrients around the body. You will have to utilize the nutrients inside, and then you will have to eliminate the wastes. This is the process. It's not just absorbing, while the supplements, the nutrients from the supplements are readily available. So it is a great help. Okay, but when your body will be, so you will be to dump out toxic metals, you will convince your body to change its homeostasis, and then you will absorb the nutrients from the food. But this will take years. Okay, so the only way I say yes, you can use supplements is by doing a hair tissue mineral analysis, but working with someone that can interpret the results. So it is not like the blood works. Normal medical doctors cannot use them. Normal holistic practitioners cannot use them. They are going to read it as they would read blood works. So this was the whole life of Paul Eck. So this good doctor decided to don't publish his studies, because he would have to fight with the whole academic world, and he did not have time. So he decided to take his studies private, teach to the students, but focus on healing real people. So this science has been there since the 70s. This is 50 years, and thousands of people. Paul Eck alone made 200,000 readings in his life, and we are at the third generation of students. So he died 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And so we have huge clinical data. I cannot speak about his studies, but I can speak about data, about clinical practice studies. And many people are not passing away, but healing with this science, from people that are generally fatigued, not able to concentrate, like I was. I was born as an Asperger child. This is my story. Then later on, but this for another episode. Later on, I developed. So I had not developed muscles and developed muscles, difficulty to physical coordination, difficulty in concentration, in everything actually. Then I began these problems with recreational drug abuse. After I finished and I began to meditate, I developed a major depression, a phenomenon, and then my pancreas stopped to craft enzymes, and I began to be skeleton-like. So I healed. So my struggle were with all this kind of things that haunted me since birth, and I healed with mineral balancing. So But in the past, mineral balancing practitioners also helped people with cancer. I had 2 clients that had cancer. One of them stayed with me for some months, then decided to go to the Gerson clinic, just because, the only reason why active cancer from the 3rd to the 4th stage is maybe the only condition in which I do not suggest mineral balancing alone. Mineral balancing can be very much of help, but cancer are so quick in its degenerations that mineral balancing is low. But I have been healing and helping a person with extreme case of fibromyalgia, many people with difficulty of digestion, extreme fatigue, etc., etc. Okay, so actually many conditions have been healed in this 50 years of clinical practice. So it's not a thing that was born today, but the point is that you cannot interpret hair tissue mineral analysis, if you did not study the science of Paul Eck. Now everybody are using hair tissue mineral analysis, but they are not able. They just say, oh well, this is very good for seeing how toxic your body is, how much toxic metals you have. That is not true. Okay, that is not true. I think that is the most important analysis we have nowadays, and it is the most powerful tool to see how toxic we are. But it's not like that you are going to have your hair tested and then, whoa, things will pop up. It's not like that, okay? We don't have an analysis that can do this miracle. Toxic metals are deeply hidden in your tissues. Your body is going to create cysts, like fences around these toxins that are building up before your birth. Okay, so it's impossible for us to understand how much cysts you have, how much fences you have, so how much toxins you have stored. What we can do is helping your body to build up its energies and to begin to dump out all the toxic metals you have around in the enzyme binding sites, for example. And then when the toxic metals and toxins that are all around are being dumped out, your body will begin to break those cysts. And so after some months or maybe some years on a program of mineral balancing, you will be able finally to see in the results the toxic metals, but not at the first. So the way medical doctors and holistic practitioners are using this, it's totally wrong. Okay, so when I have a reading, I can tell you how your thyroid is going, how your adrenal glands are going, if you are developing a diabetes in 5 years, in 10 years, or a cancer in 5 years or 10 years. I can tell you if your organs are calcified. I can tell you if your organs are oxygenated. I can tell you if your organs need to be hydrated. We can see all these things, but it will be Arab for you, And all the doctors and holistic practitioners that did not study the science, and they cannot have studied it unless they have studied in some specific schools. We are called registered mineral balancing practitioners, and we are not so much in the world. I think that we are 3 in the European Union, but of course I did not make, I'm not losing time like making, many practitioners of mineral balancing are kind of hiding themselves. They are not going to be so, speaking so widely. So we are not so much, but other people that did not receive this training will just read the analysis like the average people would do. So, oh, this is high, this is low. Sometimes when I see calcium high to the roof, I say, oh, this is not high calcium, this is low calcium. And all these forms these numbers you are seeing, it's a form of not bioavailable calcium. So it's like you have none. So actually you have a deficiency. But to a normal person, even to a medical doctor that did not study this, they were saying, oh, well, calcium is high, so just stop taking calcium. It is a great mistake. But how do you know that? I have to compare all the minerals and do mathematical proportion, and this is the work of Polak. I will try to give you some explanations in these episodes, but I mean, first things first, I'm not going to say all the ins and outs, because this is my job, and second, it's very technical, but I can make you understand the principles behind the science. We have just seen the preferred mineral and a placeholder principle, and this is a great. So to recap, after I have my mineral analysis results and your we will craft together a dieting plan, which is not a diet plan, it is a dieting plan, a supplement program, and a daily detox procedure program. Okay, and then for the advanced ones, after 1 year, we will begin to speak about meditation, etc. And you will steadily see improvements, but you will have to be consistent and wanting to do that. Okay, it needs discipline. And normally, after 2 or 3 months or 6 months, people that used to tell me, oh, natural medicine is not working for me, they are coming to me and say, oh, for the first time in my life, fermented foods are actually working. Herbs are actually working. Natural medicine is actually working. How is that so? Well, it's very easy, because now we have begun to fix the biochemistry inside your cells, and in a natural world that was not needed. That's the whole point. So to finish, I have 2 kinds of program. One for the people on budget. You can find the informations on my Telegram channel, and the most powerful programs are the ones in which we will work strictly. They are more costly, but there I will also add all my knowledge on tribal medicine, natural medicine, that is not included in the do-it-yourself program. So I hope you like this brief episode. Let me know what you want to know. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you, and my blessings. Thank you, Guardians of Balance wannabe, for listening to this episode. Begin to heal today for free by joining my Telegram public channel, Essential Wholeness, which you will find the link in the description, and grabbing your free PDF with the instructions for one of the most powerful detox procedure I use in my practice. May we all as a planet find true healing now.